Good morning and welcome back to Withrow Urban Homestead. Today we're going to start Mammoth Sunflowers. You know, those ones with the really large heads. Now, mammoth sunflowers make one large head, and they tend to be really tall, 6 to 12 feet. Now, you can direct sow the seeds in the soil 1 to 2 weeks after your last frost, or like me, 4 to 6 weeks inside before your last frost. Now it's 3 weeks before our last frost, but I have plenty of time. Here in north central Maryland, that means to start them in early April. I'm going to put them in 6-cell trays, and I'm going to use Pro Mix organic potting soil. Now, I plan to give away most of these sunflowers. It's become a tradition in my community. Years ago, any extra plants I had, I set out behind the garage and posted a sign saying they were free. And I recognized people just snatched up the sunflowers. So after that, I started sowing extras on purpose. And now we have a shelf, and people really watch and look forward to getting those free sunflowers. I have 2 trays of the Mammoth of 72 cells, so this is going to be 144 Mammoth sunflowers. I'll keep a few for myself. Now they germinate at 70 to 85 degrees. And the average germination is 10 to 21 days. Pollinators love sunflowers. Birds and squirrels too. Now, while the sunflowers are developing their heads, they're going to follow the sun. Like, for example, in my garden. The morning sun, the flower head will follow it along all through afternoon. But once the flowers fully open, they're going to freeze in place. So you're going to want to plant it where you're going to want that open flower visible. In my garden, it's really small. And if I plant them on the right side of my garden, I'm not going to be able to enjoy the open flowers. So you need to pick the right space. So again, as the blooms are forming, they'll follow the sun, but once they're open, they're frozen in place. Now, sunflowers are going to need support, so either a trellis or along a fence. I'm going to plant them in both locations. Now, sunflowers are heat-loving plants, and the baby seedlings, make sure you water with warm water. Cold water is going to cause shock. Now, not hot water. For example, my basement water here goes underground and it is icy cold. So I always get my water from the kitchen. And I make sure it's lukewarm. I've made the mistake of watering them with too cold water before. But once they're planted out and the roots are really well established, they don't require much water. They're drought tolerant. Now they're called sunflowers because they love the sun. So they really like full sun. And if you want the tallest, biggest heads, put them in the sunniest location of your garden. If they have less sun, they're going to be shorter and smaller. Now you're going to want to wait to bring them outside to start hardening off until after the last frost. Then plant them in the garden 2 weeks after the last frost. Here, that means mid-May or after Mother's Day. Now they're going to flower midsummer. Now this warm furnace room is full, so I'm going to have to put them in that other room in the basement. Now the other room is colder. It's 60 to 65 degrees, so I'm going to need to use a heat mat. And I always cover all of my seeds with a humidity dome. It holds in the moisture and helps them to germinate more easily. That second grow room is filling up. Those are the summer flowers and vegetables that grow faster. Tomatoes have germinated, zinnias, and basil. Lettuce too. Thank you for visiting Withrow Urban Homestead. See you later. Bye-bye.